verses in this chapter.
Half of Psalms.
Yeah. Now I'm actually going to go to Daniel, 2nd chapter. Now we think about the life of Daniel. Daniel was a prophet in captivity about all his life. As a young man, they marched him in to King Nebuchadnezzar. Babylon took over, and they had to march a long ways. I don't remember exactly how far it was, but he became a servant to King Nebuchadnezzar, so to speak. And there's all kinds of stories. We know all the stories about Daniel and his life. The lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego thrown into the lake of fire. But in the beginning, in the first chapter, Daniel come in and they wanted to feed him of the king's table. And Daniel says, me and my three brothers, so to speak, we don't do that. We eat and only drink what our God allows us to drink. So we only do what God allows us to do, and that's what we do. And he talked to the guy that was over them. Can't remember his name right off. And he said, well, you'll get me killed if you don't eat this. And he says, well, let me eat this for 14 days. And then if we don't stay healthy and just as vibrant as what we was 14 days from now, then we'll eat your food and drink your wine. But if you let us eat and drink what we drink, I guarantee you God will keep us. And that's one of the promises that happened, and God kept him in the first chapter. And it showed him that, man, God is with these Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel. He's there with them. And, you know, even the king starts to notice this stuff, and so his own ones notice this stuff. But I want to read out of chapter 2, kind of tell a story there. And keep that thought in mind, what Daniel thought. He wouldn't do anything to defile him with God, and he would stay closer to God, no matter what the circumstances is. But in the 2nd chapter of Daniel, the first verse, it says, and in the 2nd year of reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed a dream, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep broke from him. And the king commanded to call the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dream. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I had a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. They spake the Chaldeans to the king of Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servant thy dream, and we'll tell you the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me, for ye will not make it known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof. Ye shall be cut in pieces, and your house shall be made of a dunghill. The king had pretty strong words here, but he meant what he said. If you're so good and you know so much, then tell me my dream. And if you can't tell me, I got nothing to do with you. You're just well off being the dunghills to have anything to do with you. Well, king, we can't do that. And that's what they all start to say, because I'm going to kind of jump around because the story can get really long. So I'm going to kind of fill in some of the blanks, and we'll read some of the stories we go together. But the king told him, he says, what good are you to me? What good are you to me? And, you know, here they are. They're saying, well, no man can do this. Only God himself is the only one can do it. No man can do any of this. The astrologers, they're pleading their case. They're doing everything they can to say, look, no man can do this. This can't be done, king. Why are you making this so hard and so, just tell us the interpretation. Now, if you can't tell me interpretation, then you ain't nobody. That's what the king's telling them. Then you ain't nobody. You know, people go out there and they live their life, and I'm not saying people just trying, because people just trying are having a rough time today. And, you know, we have mistakes made and we do things. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the world, and how the world just wants to live however it wants to live. As long as I can live that way, everything's okay. And that's what these guys here are doing. They're saying, look, you know, hey, nobody can do that but God himself, so to speak. But see, they don't believe in Daniel's God. And the king, you know, he's like, no way. He says, it's gone from me. If you can't tell me, then what good are you? And we think about a lot of that stuff, and it says, verse 6, and he says, but if you show the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive my gifts and rewards and great honors. There shall, shew me the dream and the interpretation thereof. He was going to put a purple robe. He'll put a crown of gold around his neck, saying that he is in command below the king. But he would have prosperity if he could just tell me this dream. If he could just tell me what's going on. You could have prosperity all the way through this kingdom. You will be somebody, and everybody will know that you're somebody. But you have to be able to tell this dream to me. Verse 10 says, the Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore, there is no king, lord, nor ruler that should ask such a thing at any magician or astronomer or Chaldean. And, they're pleading their case so hard that they're saying all this stuff. And I think about a lot of people. I pray for a lot of people. And they want to think the same way. I'll just do whatever I want to do. God's with me, it's okay. But it's coming down where push comes to shove in this time of the world. We can see so much wicked stuff going on in the world that it's unreal. I mean, it's just unreal to see it. That I hate to even turn my TV on sometimes, even trying to catch the morning news to see the weather, because you see all the bad stuff that's going on. They're persecuting this one, tearing down that one, and just going hysterically crazy. I mean, it's all over the place. And I keep praying every day, God, I don't know how much longer it's going to be, but I want you in my life. I need you in my life. I don't want you out of my life. I don't care how many problems I got. I'm giving them to you, God, and I want you in my life. You're going to have to be the one to help this old flesh and body with any kind of troubles, because I can't do it, but you can. And God will do it. I've watched him do it over the years. I've watched him help me. I've watched him help me grow. Even in seasons when I shouldn't have grown, I got a lot of understanding. The last 8 years has been really rough, but there's been a lot of understanding come back. Still a lot of problems and aggravation, but yet one day at a time is what you live. I can't live for tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. But I can live for one day at a time with the Lord and try to do the very best I can. And they're trying to plead their case. They're trying to say, we'll get down to verse 17. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, his companions. He said, the king is going to have a decree to kill us all, to slay us all. And we need to have this dream. So he goes into 3 of his friends and says, pray with me that I get to dream. So they lay down to go to sleep that night. Daniel, he gets the dream that the king had. And they were desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then was the secret revealed to Daniel in the night vision. And Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of God who lived forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changes the times and the season. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knows what's in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who has given me wisdom and might, and has made me known unto now what we desire of thee. For thou hast made known unto us the king's matter. You think about Daniel, he gets that dream. The first thing he does when he gets that dream is pray to God thanks, who is all-knowing. And these words that he said about kings and kingdoms, he sets up who he wants. We went through 4 years of just persecution because, and I can remember a man when Trump was in there before. I can remember him saying these words to me in a restaurant, and he says, God failed us. We didn't get Trump. And I said, no, God did not fail us. We failed God because we didn't give him the praise and worship that he deserved. While we had the 4 years, when things were getting better, we just went array and done whatever we wanted to think, thinking that's the way it's going to go. And God stopped it. Sent a warning call. It's my belief. Sent a warning call to the Democrats, to everybody to get ready. We've seen a nation learn to start praying again. We see a nation to learn to have a movement of God again. Start getting back to what belongs to Christ, us. That's what belongs to Christ, us. And you know, we started that, and we've seen that. And as we prayed, things happened again for 4 years. But what's going to happen now, I don't know. But I'm willfully standing up here today to say, if we don't stay in tune with Jesus Christ, we're going to miss it. Because God is going to call his church. And there's going to be a lot of people left behind. And I don't want to be part of that. You know, and I think the thing of it about when they was talking about the brother who just passed, his life is his life. I don't want it. I don't want nothing to do with it. But yet he still knew enough about God that he could have called God and God would have picked him up. You know, the wings of God is strong and mighty. And you know, his mercy, it just goes on forever and ever. But Paul tells us, don't be a fool or a glutton to live for the world and think God's going to bless us continually. You know, we live in this world. We have to work on this world. And you know, it all has to start somewhere. I don't care who you are, what you are, where you've been, or what's going on. It's all got to start somewhere. There's got to be a starting point. And if you get a starting point with God, Satan's going to come in and try to destroy everything. Just stand firm. Just stand with God. Say, I'm going to keep going to church. I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to do. And God's going to help me put the puzzle together. That's called faith believing. He'll help put the puzzle together. When you think all things are bad, God will work that puzzle. And you got to give him the thanks for working that puzzle one piece at a time. God could put it together, boom, just like that. You couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. But if he puts it together one piece at a time, you see the blessing, you see the glory, and you see the beauty of our Lord. And we think, yeah. Where if he just gave it to you, probably be something like the Old Testament, what they call spoiled children. We all got them. You know, I'm married to mine. Or, yeah, we got them. But, you know, I think about a lot of things and just kind of kidding and joking here a little bit. Lay all things aside. God just wants you. And you are who you are. And as you give it to God, God will make you what he needs you to be if you allow him. He'll make you out what you need to be. And I thank God that he made me out because that's what Daniel's talking about. And he thanks God for everything he done. And we're down here at verse 26, and the king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret thing which the king has dreamed cannot the wise man, the astrologers, magicians, the soothsayers, shew unto the king. They can't do it. But there is a God in heaven which revealeth secrets. Make known unto this king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream, thy vision of thy head upon the bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came unto thy mind unto the bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that reveal a secret maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, the secret is not revealed for me for any wisdom, that I have more than any living, but for their sake thou shalt make known this interpretation to the king, that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. O king, saweth and beheld a great image. The great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and form thereof was terrible. The image head was of fine gold, the beast in his arms of silver, his belly, his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part iron, part clay. Thou sawest until that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image from his feet that were of iron and clay, and broke them into pieces. Now, I want to pause there for a second, because we see things in our life. We see America the Great. We see God blessing the great America when we're in season and in tune with Him. But did you notice here that there's a rock cut from a cornerstone that breaks the statue, breaks everything down? Jesus is cut from a cornerstone. He has the right, as Daniel says, to call out anything. He has the right to do what he needs to do for you and I. If we'll do what we need to do, the best of our ability, for him. And we're all on different levels of ability with God. Some's been in church, left church, some come back to church. And I'm one of those that left church and come back to church. I'm in that category. And my life has not been easy, but it's been well worth it, because the one I serve is well worth it. And I thank God every day that he has been there with more understanding than me. This old dumb guy here don't have a lot of understanding sometimes. Somebody will say something to me, and I don't know what they're talking about. I just kind of go, okay. So if you're talking to me a lot, I'm going, okay, don't worry about it. It's one of those things. But we know when it comes down to understanding the Bible and reading God's Word, there's a lot of understanding there, where simple things in the world may not be. But Daniel knew that he could call on the Most High God when nobody else could. He knew that people of the world couldn't call on him. But he told Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, he says, we need prayer, because I need to be able to interpret a dream that was not even given to me. It needs to be revealed. The same dream that King Nebuchadnezzar had, I need to have that dream. So I'm going to lay down tonight and go to sleep, and God's going to give me that dream. But I need prayer from you brothers. See, it's a circle. It goes around. We support each other and pray for each other to help uplift them to God. That's what that woman was talking about to that preacher about my children. I told him they were wrong. God didn't like this. But I never told him about God's love. And see, here's Daniel, knowing God's love, goes to his friends and knows God's too. Because believe me, Daniel's around a bunch of people that don't know God. Babylon is not God-friendly. It's godly friendly, the false gods. And everything that's under the sun, that's Babylon. And there's a band, when you caught this, talk about a tree gets cut down a couple chapters on up. And the roots of it has a band put around it. And the roots of that, Daniel even interprets that. Because in Revelation, mystery, Babylon comes back in power. I won't be here. Church will be gone. In the Revelation, mystery of Babylon comes back in power. So we see these things, and we see things going on. And we just know that the time is getting close. We just know that God is calling his children. And we just know that the only reason God is calling his children is because he loves them. He wants to be a part of them. He wants them to be there with him. And he dreamed a dream. As for thee, O king, those thoughts come unto thy mind, verse 29, upon thy bed, that thou shalt come to pass hereafter, and that reveal secret maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, the secret is not revealed for me. He's saying here that it's not my wisdom. This is revealing for you, king. This is for you. That is not for me. This is for you. And he tells about the belly, the thighs, the legs, the brass, the gold head. Verse 35. Then was the iron and the clay and the brass and the silver and the gold broken to pieces together, and it became like chaff of the summer threshing floor. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. And this is a dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art the King of kings. For God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. And whatsoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowl of the heavens, has he given unto thy hand, and has made thee ruler over them all. Thou art his head of gold. And after these things shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and a third kingdom of brass, which shall bear and rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be a strong iron, forasmuch as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all things shall break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet, the toes, part of the potter's clay, part of the part iron, the kingdom shall be divided. There shall be in it of the strength of the iron, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And the toes and the feet were part iron and part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And I want to stop there, because if you can't see our world today, what Daniel just said, you need to be praying. We just went through part good, part bad, part broken. And all they're doing, no matter what they're doing today, is just trying to talk the worst thing in the world about a man that says he wants Jesus Christ back in the White House. So all fire and all hell has come before him. And you know what? He's still running for president. He's still doing president things. And he's still hanging in there. And you know, you can look at his life and you can see everything that's happened to him in the last 4 years is because of an evil party that don't like good. And we see this stuff going on. But I'm telling you today, if we don't stand for Jesus, that rock is a rock that Daniel's talking about. It puts in kingdoms, takes out kingdoms, puts in people, and takes out people, puts in things and takes things out. And people will get on that bandwagon so much and say, well, you know, God's just going to do it anyway, so it don't matter to me. That ain't what he's saying. He's talking about a nation, just like when he talked about Israel, all the way through the Bible. He talked about the nation, not just one person. He talked about the nation. Look, turn to me, turn to me, turn to me. And they wouldn't turn to him. They'd turn to him for a while, and then they go back out partying and just carrying on. You know, we can look through this Bible and we can see some of these things. You know, I heard a preacher said he asked God one time, why? Why do you put these things in here? And God says, for the people to have understanding. And when you see that I judge clearly. That's what God does. He does truthfully and honestly. God is a truthful, honest judge. That's the reason we can have him in our hearts today, where Daniel had the anointing on him, and the 3 brothers was with him had the anointing on them. And they were an example in a time of wickedness, in a time of just stupid stuff was going on. And we can look around today, and they are spending money stupidly and foolishly, and it's your money, your tax dollars that come out of your money and went to the government. And they, all they want to do is try to bring this up. That guy's no good. This guy's no good. That's no good. We're the best. We're the best. We are soothsayers. We are astronomers. And we are Chaldeans. I don't care what you say. That's who they are. They are just things of the past. As Solomon said, what once was shall be again. And there's nothing new under the sun. And we see it happening. And if the world don't stay focused on Jesus and say, Lord, I just want to be a part of you. I'll do the very best I can and just hold my hand. And you know what? He will. Because that comes from your heart. I see preachers all the time and people all the time say, well, just pray this prayer. That prayer ain't going to do you anything. It might have done some good for him because it might have been in his heart. What matters is what's in your heart. Your heart is different than my heart, her heart, his heart, or anybody else's heart. We all have our own heart. We all have our own soul. We all have our own spirit that God made. And out of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So, if it's in the heart, the mouth will speak good things. If it's a bad heart, the mouth will speak bad things. But when we look at these things, and I see different people arguing that Jesus is not God, why did he pray, Father, forgive them if he was God? Simple and easy. God came down here to represent two things: flesh and spirit. He was born of the Spirit, but lived in the flesh. The flesh, your flesh, when it's worshiping God, it's the spirit inside that's worshiping God. To overcome what? This flesh. This flesh that we live into, that we've been born into, that we have trouble with every day. I have trouble with mine too. And I have to slap it around and say, no, don't go there. And walk away. It's easier just to walk away than to try to get involved. Because some things, you just can't help. And I look at this thing, and Jesus, when he prayed in the garden, and he's like, can this cup pass away? Flesh. A few words later, no, it's not my will, but it's thy will. Spirit. He represented it all the way through. But when he prayed, and when he called Lazarus out, it was all spirit. Every bit of it. All spirit. And this Bible is about spirit. But it's also of fleshly things. Like Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot and his daughters. Daughter got them drunk. Had kids with them because they thought the world ended. We call that incest. But they thought the world was ending, and that's the way it was. So, there's a lot of things we don't understand, but God says there are examples for us to learn from, that he's still a ruler, and he can take you by the hand no matter who you are. And if you hold his hand, he's not going to let go. You may fall down in the mud, he's going to pick you right back up. You may have a bad day, he's going to pick you right back up. You may have evil thoughts. Boy, that's what I have trouble with a lot. Just, but God subdues them. And all I have to do is say, God, help me. It works. Just like that. He helps me. Do I think there's a lot of stupid people in the world? Yes, I do. We all probably do that. Especially if you're out driving. You're driving Columbus, and them people are just mad. I worked out of Columbus for over 30 years. Now I drive back up there, I hate it. But we see things, and Daniel is standing there telling King, you're the head. You're the gold king. But I'm going to tell you this, King. If you get away from this, our God, you're going to fall. You're going to fall bad. And we see today that statue is made of iron and miry clay. Look at the world today. Let's just look at our Jesus Christ scale of what Jesus is. He is fine gold. Jesus is the best. But look what the world's bringing him down to. Look where they're putting him. You get him down to the miry clay and the stone, he's going to break it. He's going to snap it up. That means he's going to call the church out. It means he's going to get a hold of his people. I think he's getting a hold of his people now. And some of them may go by the grave because maybe they just said, "Forgive me, Lord," with the best intention in their heart. And he knows, and he's going to take them home to be with him. Because he knows if he lets them down here, they may go back to the old ways. And maybe God just took them, takes them out, takes them home to be with him. I don't know. I'm not Jesus. I don't have the right to judge. I don't want to judge. I want to be like that little old lady. Know Jesus. Know who he is. Because one day, you're going to stand in that courtroom. And if mercy don't walk in, plead your case, you're done for. But if mercy walks in, it's Christ. He knows. And you know what? In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, Jesus is going to call his church. No man knoweth. Everyone tries to predict, but no man knoweth. I want to bring this down to closing. And I think about what Daniel was saying and what he's talking to him. And he broke the feet in verse 35. Then there was iron and clay and brass and the silver and the gold broken to pieces together and became like chaff in the summer threshing floor. It's going to be just like that. But he said in verse 42, and he says, "And the toes and feet were iron, partly clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong, partly broken." We see it. We know it. We see it there. "And whereas thou sayest, iron mixed with miry clay shall mingle herself with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the day of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall be broken in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever." And I want to thank God, one day that he's going to call people out. He's going to bring his church home, and we're going to be in heaven. We're going to be up there for the 7 years. We're going to be at the marriage supper of the Lamb. We're going to see God. We're going to have all secrets revealed unto us. We're going to know all things. We're going to have that robe of pure white. We're going to be indestructible, and God's going to come back, and he's going to set up his kingdom. I heard a preacher said that you should be praying for your children, God, that you send them the kingdom of your kingdom. There's only one kingdom in this Bible, and it's Jesus Christ. He is the kingdom. He is the rock. He is the chief centerstone. He is the all in all that knows all things, that can help you no matter what you think, through everything, and put a beautiful thing together. God can do it. We just got to believe in him. And Daniel is saying, I want that God. You know, I pray that my son gets a kingdom girl, a girl that knows this. She got a guy who was of the world. He fought a lot. He drank a lot. Was in bars fighting. But God changed all things. He has made a new creature, changed all things. And you know, it was because of God that done it. It wasn't me. It was God. But I've run way too long. But I'm here today to tell you, Jesus is coming back. Jesus is on his way. The kingdom is falling down, partly strong and partly broken. And we can see it in the church houses. The strong, the ones who believe in Jesus, but the partly broken. Verse 44, in the days of these kings shall be God of heaven set up his kingdom, which shall never be destroyed. Don't forget that. Verse 45, for as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, and the silver, and the gold, the great God had made known to thee, king, what shall come to pass afterward. In the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof, that the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face, and worshipped Daniel, and commended that they should offer an oblation and a sweet odor unto him. And the king answered unto Daniel and says, Oh, the truth it is, that your God is a God of gods and the Lord of kings, and reveals secret things. Thou couldst reveal this secret. Because of him being king, he could do what he could do, and you would let him do it. And I love you for it. That's what he's saying. Then the king made Daniel a great man and gave him many gifts, great gifts. Made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, the chief of governors, and over the wise men of Babylon. And Daniel requested the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon, and Daniel sat in the gate of the king. And I'm telling you, you sat in the gate of the Most High King today, Jesus Christ. He is your provider. He is your caregiver. He is your friend when things are bad outside that door. You can call on him when you've had a bad day and maybe everything went wrong. You can call on him. And I can see him just sit there as he sits on his chair with concerns, thoughts, sweat, tears coming down his face for you. That's Jesus. He went all the way to that to become your friend. Who else has done that for you? Noah. All the way to that, to be mocked, to be called dirt, worse than dirt, to be called no good. Gave his blood, everything that he had, all the way to Calvary, because he sees good in you. The love of Jesus. I'm going to stop there.